Oh, you're one of those guys. The party trick. Whoop! That was in the camera. What's going on, guys? So, a little bit of a different setup this time round. I'm here at Stuart White's house. He found out that I've never eaten barbecue before, so he's treated me to this feast of barbecue, which I can't wait. We've got some, what did you call this again?
This is the dino rib. This is a beef rib. It's like a massive beef rib.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I want to take this home as a souvenir.
It's smoked for hours. You can take it off.
Yeah, and then we got some brisket.
This is point brisket. This is the point of the brisket, the fatty part of the brisket.
Yeah, it really flavoursome, right?
Yeah, it's like super fatty, super flavorful.
And then they were called
Cornbread.
Cornbread. What are these?
Hush puppies.
Hush puppies. What are they?
It's like fried cornmeal kind of thing. Like it's like a little. It's like bread, kind of in a way, but
Nice.
it's fried.
We got the collard greens, some wings, mac and cheese, chips, pickles.
These are they're just pickles. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
Wow.
But you don't even need the barbecue sauce with this barbecue because it's so flavorful.
I mean, let's dig in and start having a chat, I guess. So, well, firstly, thank you for inviting us and having this meal.
Man.
It's amazing. It's first for me. You know, normally we're sat in a studio. You know.
Gotta eat.
Yeah. This is great. I'm gonna try some of this.
Yeah, man. Get in there.
Some of this brisket in there.
Yeah, let me cut up this rib.
This is crazy.
But
I love it.
You can just.
Wow, big thick bit.
Yeah, just take that piece right there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Nice. So, is this sort of like a food that you would eat growing up, kind of thing? This is
honestly, I never had brisket until I was in my 30s when I lived in New York. We in North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. It's all about whole hog. They call it, or pork barbecue, where they cook a whole pig.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've seen that, and they do it. Do they do it like over like the half oil drums or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's smoked for like 12 hours or like 8 hours or something. And when COVID happened, I moved into this house and I just got into smoking stuff. But this is
you smoke your own as well?
I smoke my own. This is from Blood Slows in LA, which is really good. It's
nice.
probably one of my favorite barbecue spots.
We'll link them below. We'll plug them.
What's that?
Well, I said we'll link them below. And
we'll yeah.
People
plug them.
Am I going to be like? Am I super weird if I ask for a knife?
Oh yeah.
Knife
Or
is that not how you eat it? I don't know.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't know if you're supposed to or not.
No, it's all good, man.
It's like when you see someone eating pizza with a knife and fork, you're like, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean? Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's serrated, so it should work. Yeah, no. You can kind of eat it however you want. It's like no rules.
So this is the. I keep forgetting the name. This one. What is this again?
It's a beef rib, but they call it a dino rib because it's so big.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So talk to me a little bit about some of the. I mean, if there's anything you can talk about like what you've been working on recently.
I mean, honestly, it's all secret always. And I just like, I don't ever really talk too much about
Maybe some projects that have just come out that you can talk about that you're kind of proud of.
I mean, almost everything I've done this year is in the incubator. I mixed like 2 albums that are just sitting. They're waiting to drop.
Is that a normal thing?
Sometimes.
I was sort of under the impression, especially out here, that it was like really fast paced, like the deadlines, and then they're just out.
Sometimes. I mean, I tend to work with a lot of people where like, I'll do the whole album and then like we really get into it, and like spend time on it. And then sometimes you get into it, they might want to like do more songs or like, or wait for a different moment for marketing purposes to release.
Oh, okay.
But I got some cool shit coming for sure.
Exciting.
It's just like all top secret right now.
Sorry to interrupt the episode, guys, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank one of the sponsors of our episode today, Natural Audio, and their new plugin, the AL1. The AL1 is a limiter I've been using since they gave me their open alpha about 2 months ago, and it is incredible. It is one of the most honest and loud sounding limiters I've ever used. I absolutely love it. And Natural Audio are giving you guys the opportunity to test it out for yourself with their open alpha. This is something not many plugin companies do. They're giving you guys the opportunity to test and give them feedback on the plugin before the release. So don't miss this opportunity to test out and be a part of what I believe is going to be the best limiter of 2026. Thanks again, Natural Audio, for sponsoring this podcast, and you guys can check out the open alpha for the AL1 in the link in the description. Anyway, back to the video. What's some like upgrades that you've done to your studio, or are you kind of like happy with how it's all been set? I noticed you have a different set of near fields to the last time I came.
Yeah. Well, you know, my Pro Axe that I added since you were here, I mixed on them for like 15 years. And I just kind of like started playing with other speakers and getting bigger speakers and stuff. And the other day I was like, you know what? Like, I had to put my Norman 310s, which are usually my small near fields. I had to put them in the other room. So I put my Pro Axe back up, and I was like, oh yeah, I love these. But they're, you know, just a great mixing speaker.
Yeah, and you've worked on them for so long.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, we need to feed Owen, the camera guy. So come in, get some food. He's behind us. Not everyone's eating here. We're not Hollywood. Starving the staff. No, go for it, man. Grab some stuff. If you're cool as well, like once you grab some stuff, would you grab those drinks as well from the motor?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yep.
This is Owen, everyone, if you can see him. Great mix engineer as well. He's been out here for the whole trip, assisting me on all of these projects. We've been all over the place. Met up with some cool guys. You know Thomas Warren?
Thomas Warren? Thomas Warren? I'm not sure.
Yeah. We went and met up with him. He's a cool mix engineer. Simone, who I know you know.
I'm friends with Simone. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's great. Who else have we been with since we've been out?
Decap.
You know Decap? You made Knock?
I met him on the internet.
Oh, okay. He lives in LA now. He moved here like 2 months ago.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that plugin is really cool.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. Go on.
Let me finish my bite. But he like all the things we would have to do, like 5 parallels to do, you know.
Yeah,
he put a one plugin.
Spot. Yeah, he was talking. I can't say too much on camera because he swore me to secrecy, but there's going to be some like cool updates to it soon. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Has there been any like plugins that have come out in the last year that have really like you've been like, oh, this is a cool plugin. I'm going to start using this.
All the mixed wave stuff is amazing. That new DW Fern compressor, VT7, that thing is smooth.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
It's really like really smooth.
I'll try
this kind of needs to be heating up a little bit. I might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. That's okay.
Yeah, it seems warm on the.
These collars are okay, but the ones that I make are way better.
So break these down for me because I have no idea like actually like what the premise of this is. It looks like spinach to me.
Yeah, kind of. It's a green. It's These are real. These are kind of bitter. These are not really how I do them. I cook mine longer.
It's very salty.
Yeah, these are cooked in Turkey, but my grandmother was like a master gardener and cook, and she was like known in her small town area for her collard greens.
Oh,
and
really?
she grew them own. She sold the plants, and so in my family, it's like in my culture, like in North Carolina, it's like collard greens is like huge.
Yeah.
But I make my own, and I'll make a big pot, and I'll simmer them for like 8 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really a big vegetable guy, but I could eat these vegetables.
Well,
for sure.
These are pretty good. These are a little bitter for me, but they're good.
They taste good to me.
Well.
Do you have a bottle opener?
Yeah.
Oh, you're one of those guys. The party trick. Whoa! That was in the camera.
Yeah. Shall I open this too?
Yeah, sure.
It's like...
You go all smooth with that. I kind of know how to do that, but I'm so clunky with it. I end up just looking like a fool.
many beers in my life.
Here you go, bro. It's like an ad for them. To be fair, I really do like this drink. They don't really sell it in the UK. It's obviously like just filled with sugar.
Yeah.
It's their like Mexican
Yeah,
soda.
yeah, it's so good. That's like one of the best sodas.
Yeah, it's nice. So you got this, we haven't got any kind of music or anything around us, but there's one very prominently positioned album behind you.
Yeah.
Is that there for a reason? Is that
Yeah.
obviously something special? Means
It's
something to you?
super special. Yeah. I worked on this album. I came in at the very end. First of all, I love the artwork.
The artwork is very cool.
I love the picture. I love her expression. I think it's amazing. But I came in at the very, very end of that project and mixed a bunch of the songs.
Okay. Has some of the project already been mixed then?
Yeah.
Right.
And the project had been mixed, and I had just moved to LA. And I'll move this out of the way. I just moved to LA, and Beyoncé, her sister, was on tour. And I'm hanging out with my boys in my new living room in downtown, and I get a phone call from B, and she was like, "Hey," she's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "I just moved to LA." She's like, "Oh, you did? That's great." Da, da, da. She's like, "I don't have much time, but is there any way you could like fly to New Orleans tonight and work with Solange mixing her album?" And it was like I could tell it was like 911 kind of thing. It was like. So I was like, yeah. I was like, but I could also just get into a studio in LA, and do it here and just send files back and forth. And she's like, I think it would be better if you were with her and you sat with her. I was like, okay, cool. So, got off the phone,
Jumped on a plane.
put all my Pelican cases, I fly with like 6 or 7, sometimes more Pelican cases of equipment because I didn't know what I was going into. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was going to work. I didn't know the situation. I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I just know I was going to be mixing with her.
Right.
And then, so I take the red eye and go and fly overnight. I'm so like, my adrenaline's up, so I didn't sleep, on the plane. I tried, but I couldn't really sleep. So, and I pull up to...
Yeah, because you're kind of like...
Yeah, I'm like, what am I walking into?
Yeah.
And, but I was hyped. I was like, hell yeah, this is going to be great. Because I always wanted to work with her and I always wanted to mix for her. So anyway, I get there and I go to this studio called Esplanade Studios. It was a church that was flooded during Katrina. And this guy, Misha, he renovated the church and turned it into a studio. An amazing studio.
It's cool.
Yeah, super cool guy, super amazing studio. Like his
Try and
live...
find some photos and pop them up. Will there be photos online?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a live room. That was the congregation room for the church, and they had a pipe organ, and he got the pipe organ working. And that's his live room. It's amazing. But I wasn't in that room. I was in the mastering room, this little small mastering room. And I went in and I set my speakers up, my computer, and then she came in, and then we went over like a whole bunch of songs. Like I loaded the sessions up, and then she just gave mad notes on like what she wanted it to sound like, and we had like no time.
Did you pick the mixes up from where they'd already been left off?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I believe her engineer Blue had been mixing. Maybe someone else, I'm not sure. But all I knew was like 911. I didn't ask any questions. And she just gave me a bunch of notes. We played everything, talked about it, and then she went downstairs. And then for the next like 8 hours, I just went through the notes till like super late. And I went and got her. She came up, and she was like, okay, cool. She's like, gave me a few more notes. And then I do those notes. And it's like, I don't know, the sun's about to come up at this point. And she had left, but I just sent her the mixes.
When was the last time you had slept at this point?
By all said and done, I think it was up for like 36 hours or something like that.
Oh my God.
But by the time it finished. But it's not done there. And then send her the mixes. The sun's coming up, and then she gives, I think she approves it at that point. So I send the mastering, and then I'm like, okay. And this is the, no offline bouncing. Everything's real time. It was all in the box, but it was like, couldn't offline bounce or anything. Because it's like, like so it took a long time to print everything. Had to do instrumental acapella, da, 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 da. So I do all that. and then send it mastering, send it mastering, and I go back to the hotel room, and I had a feeling it wasn't over yet inside. So I was like holding my phone on my chest, laying in the hotel bed.
You do, after a while, you do just know, like with
Yeah.
a project, that like this ain't
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, and it sounded great, but it was like, I just have a feeling it was gonna be something else. And then I felt the phone go, boop, and I was like, looked down, and she's like, hey, are you still in the studio? And I was like, oh, I'm back in the hotel, but I could go back. You want me to go back? She's like, yeah, could you go back? I have a few more things. It's like, okay, cool. So she sent notes. I got up, got back. I hadn't even like, I still had my pants on, like, I was just sitting over. And like, so I just got back. I just went right back downstairs, got in the cab, went back to the studio, and then got the notes, did all the notes, sent it to her. She approved, then sent the mastering, and then I didn't know the album was coming out, and like I think the album came out like 36 hours later or something like that.
Wow.
I didn't know, like again, I didn't ask questions, and it was just like, this is
You're
what we
barely
do.
back in LA and it's out.
Yeah, basically. And then I remember I'd never been to New Orleans before, so at that point I'm at the studio and I'm wired. I'm on my third win, so I'm like up. So and no Adderall, kids. I don't take that shit. Old school adrenaline. But anyway, I went up and hung out with Misha because he was tracking this jazz band. And now it's like the morning. It's almost just like noon at this point. And I'm up all night, and he's tracking this jazz band. And I'm like, yo, is there a runner around here? Like, I need a beer. So I was like, I just need something to like, I was like.
Take the edge off.
Take the edge off. So I was like, they went and got a 6-pack, and I'm just like sipping beers, watching him record this jazz band at like noon, and
But for you, it could be any time.
yeah, it is late. Yeah, my body it felt late, But anyway, and then there was actually a soul food place similar to this, right down the street, and I walked over there and I hung out there, and walked in there, the little tight little soul food spot. Next to Esplanade Studios, and I just sat in there at the bar and like talked to everybody in there, shoot the shit, just like eating food and like whatever. And then I go back to the hotel and I take a nap. And my flight, I told them to put me on a later flight the next day. So like, and then I got a chance to like walk down Bourbon Street the next day. So I checked out Bourbon Street.
Got to see a bit of the town.
Yeah,
as
a little
well.
bit. Yeah, like checked out New Orleans, like whatever.
So well worthwhile.
Yeah, and then I went back and album came out, became a classic.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't even remember doing it. I listened to the songs and I vaguely remember doing it, like, but I went into a complete trance.
Yeah.
And, but, it just, but the whole experience, it was just like, all my training up until that point, I had been engineering for 14 years at that point.
Right.
So all my training and all the hours I put in the studio all came into that moment to get the win for her.
Problem solve,
Yeah.
dedication,
Yeah.
just being able to focus, push through.
Prioritizing, not getting hung up on certain things. Like I was setting myself time limits on each song.
Right, yeah.
Like you got 20 minutes to get her notes done on this song. You got to move on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's to be like called upon and trusted to do that as well. Like, it's that must feel great. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to fly Stuart out here to get this done.
Yeah, when that happened, I was just like, I'm gonna kill this shit for her. That level of trust and that level of I felt like calm sort of confidence, just like I'm gonna kill this for her. I'm gonna do whatever they need me to do.
Yeah. Well, it really kind of I always love chatting with you because it really puts into perspective the sacrifice and the level of dedication that you need to give to be at the very top of this game. Do you know what I mean? Like you to be able to do those kind of things, you have to sacrifice a lot, right? Like
totally. Yeah.
And have like an immense passion for it. So, is that something that you've ever sort of like sat and thought about, like just how much, the give and take of the job? You know what I mean? Like how? Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody that does this is you have to sacrifice a lot. I mean, it's not an easy job. It takes like a certain type of aptitude you know, and it's not just technical aptitude or musical aptitude. It's like, you know, or your personality, your your patience level.
Obsession as well, right?
Yeah. And it's funny, like I was, you know, like I feel like you have to be a little bit obsessed, you know, to do this job in a way, but in a good way. I feel like some people don't like that word. I did a panel one time with another mixer, and I was like, yeah, you got to be obsessed. I was like talking to young people. I was like, you got to be kind of obsessed to do this shit. And he kind of like disagreed because I didn't think he liked the word obsessed, but I think we're all. I think
you have to be obsessed.
I firmly believe that in a good way. It's like a good obsession.
There's nothing wrong with being obsessed
Yeah.
and being driven and focused on something, and really, you know, to be the best at something and to create, you know, as you put, classic albums. Yeah, you do have to be obsessed. There's no two ways about it.
You just gotta, you have to go to bed thinking about it and wake up thinking about it. Like every day, I got this new project that's coming in. That I have to do, and it's gonna be a mountain of work.
Right.
And I found out about it yesterday, and this morning I woke up, and I'm like, as I'm waking up, I'm already imagining how to lay the session out, because it's going to be a lot of tracks, you know, it's going to be a certain thing, and like how to lay it out, what the tones I want, you know, and it's like I'm already kind of doing it in my mind, and a lot of times too. Like when you get in these high pressure moments like that, like a lot of people like the pressure, like they don't like that type of pressure. But I love that type of pressure.
People crack.
People crack, but at the same time, you know, I tend to, when everything's like rush, you know, like I'll take 10 minutes sometimes, you know, just sit quietly with I'll go somewhere where nobody is, you know, or if I'm home or whatever, I'll just like sit and I'll just like think about what I want to do, think about how it needs to happen, and just kind of like decompress.
You're like taking the reins on the horse. Like it's a mad moment. You're like, okay, cool, let's break
because
this.
If you just sometimes you just run to the computer, you know, to like, oh, I gotta get it done. Like, I mean, there are those moments, but sometimes it's good to just take 5 or take 10 and just get centered, think about what you want to do, and then you go in and you do it, and it's like 1, 2, 3. You know?
That's something that I've actually been practicing recently and been sort of like trying to educate myself on more. Like I have been diagnosed with ADHD, and like chaos is something that like just appears in my brain sometimes, and I'm not able to sort of refocus from it. So taking moments like that, that's like, my dad's got ADHD, he kind of talks to me through it all the time. He's like, you just need space for a second and let your brain breathe.
And breath work.
Yeah, that's it. I've started, you know, the app Headspace, like huge app.
Yeah.
I started doing that, and it's insane, like how much like different I feel in myself, because my brain's just always talking to me at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And taking those, it was my key light back there. It's just gone out, it's fine. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to let you guys know this episode wouldn't have even been possible without our sponsor, Inside the Sound. Inside the Sound is the all-new hub for everything pro audio, with technical breakdowns from some of the world's best engineers and producers. Also, they'll have sample packs and mix templates, production templates for pretty much any DAW, and live events plus live streams. So if you're a massive music nerd like me, trust me, Inside the Sound is the place to be. It launches at the end of the year, so hit the link below to sign up to the newsletter to stay updated with everything Inside the Sound and be one of the first people to access this crazy exclusive content. Anyway, enough from me. Shout out to Inside the Sound. Let's get back to the video. But so I totally can sort of like level with that. But do you still feel like, you say, obviously you've got this massive project and you're already saying, you're saying it's a lot of work, so it's got to be a lot of work, right? Do you still get those feelings of pressure when these projects come in?
It's like good pressure, because after doing it for 23 years, being in the studio for 23 years, you know, and I have training to fall back on.
Yeah.
It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of training. That's the importance of doing it over and over and over and over again. And not just doing it 8 hours a day, doing it 12, 16 hours a day, over and over and over and over again. You're training the body, you're training the mind, and you're able to go into like autopilot in a way where you can get in that flow state, to where like it happens and you get it done. And like all the biggest stuff I've done was done like would just working every day, 16-hour days, like all the Beyoncé stuff, all that stuff, like it all comes like the ends are always like busy.
You grinded.
Like you don't have time to like think sometimes. You just do, And the muscle memory and the training is absolutely necessary for that.
Yeah.
And you can find a calmness in that, and kind of block out, the noise of like, just, any sort of distraction that might be bad. But there's definitely times where like I'll do breath work, like I'll do like, I know basic breath work, but it's just like you breathe in for like, I think like 7 seconds, so you
Like
breathe,
like the square breathing. You breathe in, hold.
you breathe in
out,
for like
hold.
3 or 4 seconds, and you hold for 5, and you blow it out for 7. And you do that a few times, and immediately your cortisol will go down. And you'll
Yeah,
just, like,
I know.
get
I
lift
exactly know the feeling.
So I
It is
definitely
mad.
will do that. I've been in the chair engineering, like just like thinking about all the things I have to do after the artist leaves at like 4 a.m. and I got to be up till 6 because I got to get this and it's like it's just the way it is, you know. And so you're sacrificing sleep, you're sacrificing relationships, you're sacrificing a lot of things, but it's the life we chose, and it's
You wouldn't trade it for anything.
no, I enjoy it. I mean, I didn't. I also think I didn't have like high expectations for my life when I was young. Like I quit high school when I was like 17 because I missed so much class in the first quarter of my junior year that they pulled me aside and had a meeting with my mom and a bunch of teachers, and they're like, "So you've missed." It was something like 2 weeks or something I missed in the first quarter, and they're like, "You missed too many days to like go to graduate 11th grade." And so I was like, "Wait a minute, let me get this straight. If I go to school every day from here to the end of the year and I make straight A's, I still can't pass 11th grade?" And they're like, "Unfortunately, no, because you missed too many days." And I was like, "Well, I guess I quit." And then I remember this teacher was like giving me a hard time. She was like some old kind of like stern lady, and she was like, "I think you're making the worst mistake of your life," and da 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 da. And it might have been the worst mistake of my life, but
Yeah, clearly not.
I didn't think so, because I didn't really like. For me, I was like, just because I don't like go to this school doesn't mean I can't be successful or do what I want to do. Like
Education is built for a very certain mindset.
yeah, we need
Right?
people to go to school.
Not
but
everyone's
not everybody
mind
needs to. Yeah.
is built for that. Like my mind definitely wasn't. I suffer from dyslexia and ADHD.
Yeah.
Structured educational system was probably the worst place you could put me.
Yeah,
and I made it bad for everyone around me.
Yeah.
So, like, what, and I graduated school with the reading age of a 7-year-old at 16.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I benefited from school.
Yeah.
I learned how to read when I found this passion, and I picked up sound on sound, and I was like, oh my God, I'm really fucking interested in this. And that's how I learned how to read.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, I couldn't even read
story.
the book in the UK. Any guys watching from the UK will know Biff and Chip. That's what I could read, right? Which is like a child's book. And I was almost a full-grown adult at this point,
Right.
And then it was sound on sound that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Dude, they need to put that story in Sound on Sound.
Yeah, maybe.
Now.
yeah, maybe. Cool. Yeah, email me. I'll do it in.
He needs an interview Sound on Sound.
Yeah, but one of the things I wanted to ask you is, again, like obviously, you was talking about it a little bit earlier with all the training, and you were able to prioritize and just set time limits and stuff like that. One thing, one thing that I always get asked this question by like younger engineers is like, when do you know the mix is done? Like I can't seem to. They'll be like, I can't finish these mixes. Like I don't know that when it's done. I'm sort of second guessing myself all the time. Like, how do you kind of like formulate that in your mind?
That's a really good question. For me, it's goosebumps. Like, I get goosebumps when something's really gelling and feeling good, and like the textures, like the way the sections transition, and I can get goosebumps before something's finished too, just because it's feeling good. And I'll make save as's a lot of times like goosebumps here. Don't ruin.
I need this version.
Don't well, maybe that might not be like, but there's something there's magic in that version, and there's a feel going on. But don't upset it. You can go in and like, oh, I get that breath. Oh, I get that S. Or like, oh, snare slightly loud, but it's still got the goosebump factor. You can go and refine it, but it's like I'm looking for that physical thing, And I actually read something the other day. There's like it's a condition when you get like goosebumps, like when you listen to music often, like when something. There's like its actual name for it, I think. But either way, I get that. That's a trigger for me to like know like okay, this is gelling. But it's just I feel like when something's really gelling, it's undeniable. You're like this is feeling really good, and often it's happening very quickly. And I think a lot of people might think that. Like, oh no, I need to multiband that, or like, oh, that's a little harsh right there. Oh, is that bass a little too loud? But it's
They're
like
second guessing themselves. And
yeah,
thinking.
but it like feel is feel. So there's no real rules as long as it translates that feel across the different speakers. So I have a lot of speakers in my house. So when I have those moments where I'm like, shit's feeling good, I'll play it on a lot of different sets. And just like
make sure that it is.
Yeah, when it feels good on like any set. Even if the set is like the speakers are like in the wrong place or sitting on the floor or something like that, it'll still feel good.
Right.
If you're there. So I try not to upset that, and then I try to if I refine that, I try to make sure that I am careful how I refine that at that point, because I think a lot of people mix. There was a famous engineer one time, I won't say who, but a super famous, respected engineer that I love their work. But they told me one time that like, I just mix for my peers at this point because like the artists and the public don't really know if it's a good mix or not.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just like, but I mix a certain way to appease like
most
other
other
engineers or something. And I was like, I get it, but that didn't sit right with me because to me it's like, some of my favorite things are like so flawed, and if like you pull up like one time I did this exercise where I played all these like every number one hit, like I went back in time and looked at like the wiki page for like or whatever it is, like every number one hit on Billboard since the beginning of Billboard, and I was like clicking through them. Some of the mixes are fucked.
Yeah.
But the feel is there. So I want all my peers to hear my shit and be like, oh, he nailed that one. Like, it's a great mix, da-da-da-da. But at the same time, I much rather appease like the
audience,
the
and get
audience
them to feel something.
and the artist
who won't even know why.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it touches them like that.
Yeah. But it still has to translate across different speakers.
Yeah,
like it can feel great on like the Augsburgers only,
You're one of like.
But then you play it on your Bluetooth speaker and it sounds terrible. So it's got to translate across different speakers and translate in the car. But this idea of perfection is like, something that like might be better done with an AI at this point. You know what I mean? Like, cause
they're probably better achieving it than we are.
I mean, eventually there's going to be like AI mixes that are probably going to be so perfect sounding that
people won't like them.
Yeah, it will, or they'll love them if that's what they're going for. But then, it's like, some people want to hear everything like insanely perfect, insanely tuned, insanely everything. But you gotta leave room for.
I feel like
errors.
the majority of people like music is flawed, and that's what makes it magical.
People are flawed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're flawed.
When people ask me the question like, "Oh, are you worried about AI?" I'm like, no, not really, because I think it might have a moment, and then people are going to be like, "Nah, this is just soulless. I want to feel something again."
Yeah.
And they'll come back to
Yeah.
real music, real engineers, and it will do a full circle, in my opinion. Talk a similar sort of topic, but not quite.
Yeah.
I mean, something that I've been kind of speaking on a lot recently, and making a conscious effort as well, because I feel like I lost my way with it a little bit. But like analyzers on like EQs and stuff like this, right? Like the technology's come so far, we can have so much detail in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Like my personal opinion is that people are now mixing more with their eyes sometimes.
100% agree. Yeah.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, and we can't help it. I mean, dude, I wish people would just stop abusing Fab Filter too. Like, like if I see another Fab Filter with 9,000 fucking bands on it, and then you bypass it and you pull the fader down, and you do a shelf on the top end, and it sounds more natural, like immediately. But I mean, I will use it to notch certain things that are ringing like really bad.
Yeah, resonant frequencies that are just in the room.
But if you do it to everything, then it's just like, okay, there's no point. But to me, but like I feel like everybody's mixing so much with their eyes, and it's affecting feel. And I was talking to you earlier, like I've always dreamed of having like an SSL console, and I've been like looking at, you know, E series and, you know, G series SSLs online, like lusting over them right now. And but I learned on consoles at Quad, you know, when I was starting out, and you know, I hadn't really got my chops together before I was like pulled out of that world and had to do everything in the box, and then I had to relearn how to do rough mixes in the box, and that was really hard to do. The console was way more forgiving. Plus, you know, we would have Pro Tools, but Pro Tools would be on the side, and you'd hit play, and then everything would come up on the board, and you would just mix, and you'd use your eye. You wouldn't use your eyes. You would just, the only thing you were looking at is the time code on the board to see like where in the song you were from the time code type of thing, and even when like tracking, like I got to track stuff on tape back in the day, and that process of just working at the console, and you can't, you know, visualize things like that. You just you end up with like I think in a lot of ways a better sounding mix. Like, you know, initially, one, because the console is very forgiving and the electronics were really good, and it really those EQs and everything sounded really great. You know, just, and you could overload things and it just sounded great. You know, whereas like with digital, like, you be careful what you overload, and I'm real careful about how hard I hit plugins and all those things. Like, I know it's 32-bit float, but I still don't like the way it sounds when the meter's all the way up and the plugin's seeing all that ramping level. It just, it's clipping it in a way that's just like sounds artifacty to me. But anyway, I kind of like miss the days of like working on the board, and that's like why I'd love to, like, you know, possibly buy one day and just like not do every project like that, but do some projects like that, or just do
chosen ones.
Ones that where like it can be done that way, or just do initial stuff, do like the initial first 2 hours on the console, and then stem it back in Pro Tools,
and then just fix it
and
out,
just use Pro Tools more, like capture that.
Because obviously, again, there are like big downsides to working that way. You know, especially someone like yourself with like these high pressure projects and sometimes like insane turnarounds. Like,
it's impossible.
If there's a recall, like you have to be able to do that in the box now,
I mean,
right?
all the big stuff that's just like crazy moving parts, and it has to be in the box at this point. You know, there's just no way. Now, I'll use analog. I'll run something through analog and print it back in. I'll run it through, like, you know, if I'm in a studio and they have a really nice H3000 or something, like I'll run it through an H2000 and do something with that and print it back in. But you know, it's and everybody's happy with the in-the-box sound, and everybody's doing it in the box. Everybody's used to that sound.
Great.
Yeah, it sounds fun, but it's different. It's not the same thing. And like, I go back and listen to certain records that I came up on, and tonally and texturally, like, you know, and it might just been part of the gear, or it might have been part of just like how like the decision process gets made when you're in that flow state mixing, when you're on a board versus when you're doing it looking at visuals and stuff like that. So it's a huge thing. I mean, when I mix in the box, I close my eyes all the time.
I do. Or I actually
constantly
will, like, hide the analyzer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to try to stop. Or I've been trying to not use like FabFilter and things like that as much. Obviously, right at the beginning when I'm fixing vocals, things like that, okay. But most of the time I'm trying to, like, I've been using like the mag a lot recently, and
that's a good one.
Just trying to get the feel. Like, if I'm doing any sort of like adding to the EQ rather than subtracting, I will not use any of those plugins.
I mean, FabFilter is great, and like, but to me, like,
it's an absolutely insane plugin.
It's an insane plugin, and it's very useful in a lot of ways. But like, as far as notching frequencies and stuff like that, often I'll find them with FabFilter and I'll notch them with something else, because sometimes when you do really tight cues with it, it sounds phasey to me. You know?
Yeah.
That one does. Yeah. And
I like the AMAC by Plugin Alliance. Is it AMAC? AMAC.
Oh.
AMAC, yeah.
For notching? Or just for
doing little notches. Mostly if I'm doing it on the master, and just as a plugin in general, when I'm like at the, do you know Ohad, the mastering engineer? Have you heard of Ohad?
I think I've seen the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I'll send you his page. He's doing a lot of like Tizio stuff now.
Okay, cool.
He showed me this one like EQ pan where he's boosting, you know, like 1500 and then 1000. He's separating the left and the right, and then he's doing on the other side, he's doing like 1000 and 600 and doing like a wide boost on that, and it's like a 3D pop of the vocal. And I was like,
nice.
It was great for me because it was the first time in like, it must have been like, it felt like years. I was like, oh, this is exciting. And it like, I really like brought something out in the mix to me. And I was like, this is like a technique that I really am enjoying. I had to phone him up straight away. I was like, bro, you've killed it with this one. I don't know, you should have let it out, the cat out of the bag, because this is like insane how much this is like bringing out the vocals, making everything feel where it needs to be, especially with the stuff that I was doing. So I love it. Is there,
I gotta try it,
is there, how important, obviously, you know, this game is constantly shifting, constantly changing. You say, you know, you've got so much sort of like classic pieces of gear, some that go all the way back to the 70s in your studio, but how important it is for you to sort of like stay up to date and stay current and make sure like you're, you know, keeping your ear to the ground with the new technology that's always coming out?
Honestly, yeah, I'm more up to date on like music. Honestly, like I'm more into just listening to like tons and tons of music. But my YouTube feed, my Instagram feed is like full of all the new plugins, like all the stuff. So I see it anyway. Like, and I definitely like I check everything out. But I have so many plugins at this point, and for me, it's more about flow state when I'm mixing. Like, if I'm not mixing and I'm just like chilling or taking a break or like whatever, then I might mess with something, you know, or if I got the mix done or whatever.
You got a bit of time,
Yeah, then I'll do it. But if I'm mixing, I'm like trying to get into a flow state where I'm just, everything is clicking and I'm staying in right brain as much as possible. And in those moments, I use what I know.
Yeah, you have to just like the back of your hand kind of thing.
I try to use what I know, and that's why I really want to get that Wolf Bay, because
you can start grabbing easily the equipment that you use for
I can patch in anything in the room without getting out of my chair, and I can like set up A/Bs and mults and all kinds of stuff real quick, and then you do preset chains. And
this patch bay does sound amazing.
It sounds amazing, dude. Like, I mean, I knew about it, and I knew about this other brand before, but you know, the last however many years, like I have to move around so much that anytime I start getting like the thirst for new gear, I'm just like, chill out, Stu. Like, you know, keep it simple, because it's like sometimes I'll be in a different room, which is not even a studio. It's like a different house or different office or different whatever, working in every day and, you know, on something, and I have to just keep it simple, keep it in the box, and just make it work that way.
Do you ever, obviously with that piece of gear, you can have everything patched up, and then you could create like a remote connection on like a laptop and access your studio anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people do that, but that just sounds like introducing problems for a big fail. Because if you're on a crazy deadline, you know, or you know, or just in general, even if it's not a crazy deadline, just any deadline or whatever, like it just slows down the process, and it just is overcomplicating things.
Yeah, it's not flawless, but it has come a long way.
Yeah.
I have like when I'm on doing trips like this, my studio is always on. I have my laptop. I can mix. You know, it's not mixing in my studio, but I can like get the job done if it's like needed like there and then.
Yeah, I know another mixer that was doing that, but he was having technical problems while he was doing it, and he was like not in his flow state because the shit is the latency of it. And then it's glitching.
Yeah,
and then the internet got buggy.
You can't get into a flow state with it. Even like, because you can't control your mouse in the same way or anything like that, you know.
Totally.
Shortcuts are always a bit weird as well.
Yeah.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, what do you remember like the albums, or is there like a mix engineer or something that maybe stood out? But I guess it would be probably before you knew of the mix engineer, but like, where you fell in love with the mix and like it was like, oh, this is amazing, something that obviously you didn't work on, that inspired you and made you want to become a great mix engineer?
I mean, yeah, definitely. The first thing for me, I mean, well, honestly, I never like said, oh, I want to be a mix engineer. I just always like, I want to be an engineer, you know, like, because I look at it as the same thing in a way. It's like, but Beatles, Abbey Road for sure. You know, and Beastie Boys, Check Your Head. Like when I was like 16, I was like listening to Beastie Boys, Check Your Head in my car, and all those effects on the vocals and the dub delays and like all that stuff that Mario Caldado Jr. was doing, you know, in the mix. That was the first time I'm like, wait a minute, somebody's doing it. Yeah, someone's doing this, and it's great, and I really like it. and it sounds fun and like interesting, and I wanted to know more about how that was done. But in those days, there was like, I don't think there was, when I was 16, I don't think there was any trade magazines to speak of, really. Like, there was a few maybe, but nothing about engineering or mixing or studios, you know, and not in North Carolina where I was at. Yeah, it was just those two were big. And then I remember there's an album, Medulla, by Bjork, where the whole, I got the album and I watched this DVD, that came with the album, or like it was like a separate DVD about the making of the album, and I watched that, and then the whole documentary, she's in the studio, she's like a magic shop on this Neve, and like she's got like Icelandic choirs doing all this stuff, and the whole album, the concept was like every sound was going to be made with a voice,
right,
and not with sounds and synths and stuff, and they made the whole album like that. So they really had to process the sounds a lot to get them to sound like drums and things like that. And then it cut to her going in the studio with Spike Stent, and like I guess it was like late '96 or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, or no, this was probably early 2000s. It was probably like, but she and they interview him for a second, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically she would bring stuff to him unfinished, so he could fuck with it.
Yeah.
And like take it to the next level with his sonic abilities and his knowledge of the gear and the console and all that. And I saw that and I'm like, yo, that's so fucking dope, you know?
Yeah.
And the sound they got on that era from like late 90s, like Massive Attack, to like his era, that run that he had, like late 90s, early 2000s, like those sonics like really affected me. And
Inspired you.
yeah, part of the reason why I want to SSL too is just because like those records were, heavily, touched by, gear in an SSL console, and you can hear it bending. You can hear the console bending. You can hear, and I love that sound. Or I love, it's another crayon. I still want to work the way I want to work, but have the console to do things.
Be able to, you want to, yeah.
But that Medulla album for sure, and the Massive Attack Mezzanine album that he did, those like were huge for me as far as just like, that's the pinnacle. You know what I mean? Like that's the pinnacle of this shit. And he's like, and that term, I hate that term, creative engineer, because we're all creative, but that some people have their thoughts about that, and I think there's room for every type of engineer. But if your client wants you to do that, then that's fucking awesome.
Both,
and
yeah.
Bjork went in there and said, I want him to do this shit, and like I was like, damn, I want to be the guy where like a big artist like is trusting me to fuck with shit and do delays and do distortions and like and they come back from dinner and they're like, oh cool, can you do this, can you change that, like so yeah, that little clip in that documentary with Spike and Bjork, that affected me forever.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I can tell. And that's I was thinking about questions when I was driving over, and that was the one I was like, I cannot forget that because I really want to know that. And it's something that I never ask ever, but I think it's such an important question.
I was listening to that album before you walked into it.
Oh, really?
So weird.
Amazing. There you go. That's brilliant. Is there like, how long have you been rolling?
46 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. Is there like anyone like currently that you find yourself like, wow, their mixes are just like absolutely amazing?
Yeah, shoot. Who's my favorite right now? I mean, there's so many. I mean, Chad Blake is my favorite mixer probably overall.
Right.
And I feel like, I don't, maybe not in the last, like I haven't heard like a lot of stuff he's done the last year or so, but generally in the last few years or whatever, specifically, it was a few years back, but what he's doing in the box and what he did on that Kills album, where that song Heart of a Dog, what he did in that mix, I think he breaks it down on Mix with the Masters. And it's wild because the wrong engineer is credited on that mix on Tidal, but
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and he's not had it fixed?
No, I mentioned it to him, but I don't think he cares. But
And he's done it on Mix with the Masters.
What Chad does is huge for me too, and I kind of came to him after I was a mixer. I had a studio, and I had heard his stuff my whole life, but I didn't really know who he was and whatever. And then I heard the Black Keys Brothers album, and I'm like, who the fuck mixed this shit? This shit's banging.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that guy Chad Blake, okay. And I looked him up, and I'm like, oh, he did Sheryl Crow and shit. And I played like, I think it was like Angels, that first song on that album, and that shit comes on like a freight train, dude. It's hitting harder than hip hop. It has more extension and hitting harder than most hip hop records of the same year.
Yeah,
and it's a Sheryl Crow song. I was like, man, this is dope. And then maybe like a month later, I'm hanging with this producer friend of mine. I'm laying on the couch in my studio in the back of the room where the bass is really heavy. And this is in New York, and he plays the new Arctic Monkeys album that had come out. It was like that one. And then like it came on with so much space, and I was like, who the fuck's mixing rock records with that much bass? Because like I love that, but nobody does it, and nobody mixes it like that.
You know, like synth sound waves like under the kicks and stuff.
Chad puts a techno kick from Drumagog on everything. You know, like every mix he does, he pitches it and he puts this like techno kick. It's called Techno 2 or something, Drumagog. But he's told everybody that a million times. But he puts that kick on there and he filters it and he makes it hit. And then I looked up the credit on that and I was like, yeah, Chad Blick again. And I ended up going to his mix with the Masters as a student.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. And it was after I did the Beyoncé album too. It was after I did Self-Titled, and I had a gig. I had a gig that was coming up, and then, which was actually with like Jack Antonoff and John Hill on Bleachers, and I ended up mixing some of that, but I had like a week window or 2 week window between like working and then, you know, having to do the Jack Antonoff and the Bleachers thing. So I was like, I'm going to go to the Mix with the Masters ad came up, and it's Chad Blake, and I was like, shit. I was like, fuck it, I'm going. So
that's so dope. You've done a Beyonce album, and you're like, I'm still going to go and do this seminar.
It's so funny too, yeah. And they were like, why are you here? And I was like, because I want to learn. I want to learn more. Like, you know. And I didn't mix the whole Self-Titled. I mixed some of it. I was supposed to just track it, but it ended up that she liked a lot of my mixes, so a lot of my mixes made it on that album. And then I worked with Tony, and we tag teamed a lot of those mixes, you know, at his studio. And because she wanted me there, you know. She was like, no, get Stu out there, you know, and whatever, because he knows the record. Yeah. And then anyway, and I was just high off that, and then I went to go track Jack. I wasn't supposed to mix, and then I ended up mixing a bunch of songs off Bleachers, you know, and and what I had just learned, I applied literally like
I was
right
gonna
then,
say, were you like taking it in and just using
for sure? Because Chad mixes in the box, and I'm like, how is he getting it so fat in the box?
Yeah, I mean that AM album came out at a time when it was like just slammed big dance records, like especially in the UK. It was a lot of house music that was super popular on the radio, and like big pop music. And it was like, how is a rock band gonna compete and sound good against these records? Like even in a playlist, right? And he cracked the code. Because no one was able to do it. Like it just sounded weak in comparison to these techno kind of records. And it was awesome, and it literally just, especially in the UK, it took the world by storm. Like it was unreal. I remember going to Reading Festival, and they were headlining, and it was like being in a war zone waiting for them to come out. They just went dun-dun-dun-dun, and everyone's like lighting flares and things, and we were like, wow, let's go mental. And then Alex Turner comes out with a cigarette, like the coolest guy on the planet. He's like, what's fucking going on, Reading? And I was just like, this is insane, like absolute peak moment. I love that album, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's great. And but yeah, there's so many people that are great. Like I've really loved, you know, the Kendrick albums and what Ali did, you know, with Kendrick. I feel like that shit is amazing.
He was a big inspiration for me when I was like learning my chops. Like I was any sort of video I could find on Dre or Ali or anything, like being into hip hop, I was like, just trying to like soak it all in. Yeah,
you know, he's you know, and he was crafting things. He was like, you know, like crafting effects, you know, creating a lot of depth with different things. It wasn't just, you know, taking what someone did and just basically mastering it. And a lot of mixers will just do that. They have it set up to where like the stuff they're getting is really fucking close, and they're just putting, you know, like the mastering on it basically in a way, and then send it back out, and that's all they want from them. And that's fine. I do that sometimes, and I love to. I talk with everybody I work with, and I try to at least, to just feel what do they want there from this album? What do they want to accomplish with it? And what do they want from me? And sometimes I might mix something, and they don't really necessarily know a lot of what I did. They're like, oh, this is the guy who did Beyonce, or something like that, and they're just like, cool, that's enough, or they see my name somewhere or something like that, and then like they send me something, and so I try to figure out like, what's the vibe here? Yeah, what do they want? And then, and you get a lot of things too where it's like a lot of producers do their own rough mixes these days, and they're not necessarily mixers. Sometimes they do great mixes, sometimes they don't, but the vibe is there.
Like, Skrillex, he's not calling himself mix engineer by any means, but he is a fucking mix engineer. His shit, that
it's
last
like
album
Kevin
sounded
Parker.
insane.
It's like Kevin Parker.
Yeah.
Kevin
And Fred
Parker's
again
mixes
as well,
are fire
new
too.
one. His one's like sounded great.
Yeah. But there are a lot of producers out there that's just not their thing, and they need someone to get them to the end result. But they need to like hear what they're doing, and and go in and like scrub all the stuff off the like if it's like looking through a dirty window.
Yeah, top and tail, everything.
Yeah, like figure it out, because sometimes it's like, like the intro sounds good, the drums are banging, then the chorus comes in, the drums are gone because there's like a sea of like low, mid, and like a million instruments, and they got 5 Junos and 3 Moogs, and
the
like
limiter's just like choking out.
Yeah, and it's like all these different sounds come in, and then there's strings, and there's like, so you got to like carve out all this space, but it's clear what they're trying to do with it, but there's a lot of mixing that goes into getting that done. And if you're just, just going to only just elevate it a little bit and send it back because like you're worried about like, it's not gonna cut. And also just like helping the arrangement sometimes too. It's just like, like cutting the tails of things, like the end of a section, like something's carrying over. Like you got 5 cents background vocals, blah, 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 all these things with like long delays and reverbs that are carrying over in the next section. Sometimes you just go in and cut that shit, off, and bam, the next section pops. Next section. Do little things like that, and they get it back, and they're like, yo, little thing, but it moves the arrangement. And,
well, that is almost production, right? It's
mix. I mean, I mean,
it is mixing, but you are changing it.
I feel you. Yeah. But it's like, in my world, so much of what I do, other people would consider production, but in a way, it all depends on your school and how you came up in a lot of ways. Is like what's considered production or not, and some is just considered being like, no, that's just being a dope engineer.
That's how me and Owen see it.
Yeah.
Like especially in the UK and like in the UK rap scene, if you're not adding effects, especially like the last like 5-6 years, like if you sent back the mix exactly like the demo but just better, they'd be like, bro, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, where's all the stutters? Where's the reverse? Screams and stuff and the chops. Like, and you're like, oh well, like.
Yeah. Well, it's understood that you're going to do that stuff.
Yeah. But if you said, well, that's not mixing, they'd be like, bro, well, I paid you to mix it. That's what I want. Like,
I mean, but it is, you're finishing the production, and you should get royalties for that.
You should, but that doesn't happen.
I mean, but you keep going at it, and you get some hits under your belt, and then you can start saying like, I need a point. And people will give it to you because they want
more of a place.
And that's that's. I didn't get points, like forever, like but I get them now, but it's taken 20 fucking years. So it's just like, but a lot of times, like they'll want to give you tons of points in a low rate, but it's never going to recoup, so it doesn't matter. And also, like
you need to think about that, like
also like labels often won't pay out royalties until like the lawyers hit them up and be like, hey, this did. 500 million streams. Like
where's the money?
We haven't got paid yet.
And you need to organize all of that.
And you have to go ask for your money, and then they're like, oh, and then they send it. Or like there's that famous video of Nile Rodgers where he's just like every time he's audited a label, there was like massive amounts of money that was owed to him. Because they just like, if you ain't looking for it, they don't send it out.
He's a smart motherfucker.
It's like not paying your light bill until they fucking send you the turn off notice.
Or their lights just turn off. He's super smart though, because I saw him talking about one of his first contracts, and it was meant to be a year contract, and they knew that they were getting finessed, but they changed the wording to like a year means from this point on 6 months in the terms. So then every time they wrote a year, it legally meant 6 months. And he had this whole contract written up and it was all legal and watertight, and he managed to get it all signed off. So they managed to do all of this music with this label or whatever it was, and then managed to pull out after 6 months and use that as like a building block, right? Because they knew, I guess he knew like the contract was bullshit, but he managed to get it rewritten in a way and get a loophole in there that they missed.
No way.
Yeah, it's a cool story. It's on the Audio Movers podcast. So,
oh wow! Yeah, I think saw a clip of that somewhere. That's crazy. Or it's like what Frank Ocean did. I kind of remember he.
Where he released that album.
Yeah, and then he got out of his deal, and then boom, here comes Blonde.
It was like the next day.
Yes, that's a big win for the artist.
And that was a big fuck you, because it was like a music video, and he just made a staircase, like he was building his own way out. Like, that was like the art behind it.
And from what the story goes is like the label didn't really fuck with him, but he had such a fan base,
I think he was writing songs for like Beyoncé and stuff, and they wouldn't let him release his own music, so he just made Novocaine for free and released it for free.
Yeah, I'm uncredited on a song off Blonde.
Oh really?
Yeah. There's some background vocals that I recorded on Pink and White.
Oh really?
Yeah, I gotta get that credit.
Yeah,
one day.
yeah. I mean,
I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs.
Blonde is but I mean, I love all of his music, but yeah, Blonde is incredible. I feel like we're all just like waiting for some new music from him.
Yeah, he's such a genius. I mean, like a real one, And
it's been a long time though.
Yeah,
it's got to be like 9 years.
Yeah,
coming up.
But yeah, and I'm really excited to see what turns with the whole business side of this thing, because it's like, you got major labels that have these massive catalogs that make all their money from these massive from catalog music, and then for a tax write-off, they go sign a fuck ton of artists.
Here's a million, here's a million, shelf.
Yeah, shelf. For a tax write-off, and also to hoard artists, so their competing labels don't get these artists, and nobody talks about this stuff,
Yeah.
And then but more and more there's a podcast.
I think people are becoming clued up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a podcast that I love watching called The Manager's Playbook.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
that shit is gems.
Yeah.
Like, I watch that shit.
They actually really do spell it out.
And more of us need to do it. More of us need to actually
talk about it.
Talk about what's going on the business side, because the new generation needs to know the pitfalls of what it means when you sign this type of deal and that type of deal, and what it means for us too on how we get paid. It's like sometimes with major labels, they'll want to pay me less than an independent artist will pay me sometimes, because the indie artist will find me, want to work with me, knows my work, and they're willing to pay me a good rate, a fair rate, and then whereas a label sometimes the label with their not with their big artists, but with the smaller budget artists on the label, they want to pay me less than the other indie artists or whatever, and then so it's just it's tricky, and it's
Yeah, I do think we are due a change, and I think people are slowly becoming more and more clued up to it. Especially even with these big shifts in Spotify, and how people are starting to sort of take their music off of the platform because they don't fuck with the way that they're doing their business, which is, I personally think is fair, because in my opinion the business is fucked. It shouldn't be being run like that.
I mean, it's almost the same as the way our government's ran, where everything there's always a level of greed and corruption. There's also and just to turn a blind eye, and also
they've monopolized.
Yeah, and also too, it's I firmly believe that a lot of the big labels, they don't want artists to be paid fairly, because a young artist, they sign, they have no money, they blow up, now they have a ton of money. Are they going to keep working hard?
Yeah.
It's almost you give them just enough money where they run out of money in a year because of their lifestyle. So they have to oh God, I'm going broke. I got to grind this next album out.
Yeah, I know.
So it's almost in general, sometimes people won't they won't pay you, but they want to pay you at like the sweet spot in a sense for them, to where they keep you needing them. They keep needing them, yeah, and type of thing, but you know, it's like so many of us, like we have no retirement. I've never had medical. I've never paid for medical insurance in my life. You know, like I've just rolled the dice my whole life.
Crossed, yeah.
Yeah, just like hope it works out. You know, because it's like in America, you know, you can spend like fucking, you know, $800,000 a month.
Most people get themselves in debt because of it.
Yeah, you know, I just try to eat as healthy as I can and like go to my doctor and get my blood work done. You know, like. You know, like, am I okay, doc? You know, like, yeah, you're okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, just like rolling the dice. But it shouldn't be like it shouldn't, you know, and just like we were talking about the housing market before. Like, it's just like, dude, if we were doing this shit like in the 90s, houses
we'd all be living in
mega
pads.
Yeah, like we'd be making like 4 times as much money, and then the houses would be like 1/6 of the price probably.
Yeah, I know,
you
it's
know,
crazy.
like. For this generation,
we could all afford to live in the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, fingers crossed I can get this 2-bed house in Chelmsford. You know what I mean? Like, and I work my nuts off, and I'm buying it with my partner as well. I'm not buying it by myself.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's tough. Like, I mean, when I was married, like we bought a condo in Brooklyn, and it was like everything we could do to do it. You know, we had to get help from the family, and you know, and like to do it, and then. You know, but it was like 600 square foot, you know, 1 bedroom, and it was like all we could do. And we were both successful, like both working, both making like 6 figures more each, you know. It's like, and we're like struggling to buy a fucking 1 bedroom in Brooklyn, but it's just, it's out of, this is fucking 2013. So, you know.
Yeah, it's even worse now.
Yeah, it's even worse now. And the interest rates back then were we got a 3%. Now it's like crazy. But
Start thinking about it, guys. Plan. don't, you know, it will creep up on you and you're like, shit, how am I going to do this?
Put your money away. You know?
Well, I think we'll leave it there. On that note.
We're going to leave it on that.
Yeah.
Doom and gloom, financial doom and gloom. Leave it on that note.
But again, thank you so much for inviting me into your home and
for sure, bro.
Getting this amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed the barbecue. It was very, very nice. I guess you got some leftovers for the next few days.
Take some with you.
I'm getting on a flight tomorrow, so
yeah.
But thanks so much. You guys have been watching and listening to the Mixed Opinions podcast. All Stu stuff will be linked below if you haven't checked it out already, which is crazy. But yeah, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Safe. Nice one.
Yes, sir.
Bro. I love that. That was so cool. This was really great. And like it was cool as well because